Hey, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I had a question regarding the warranty on the original manufactured parts. That this is on top of that, I assume? And is that warranty like a 5-year warranty, a 10-year warranty, or what are we looking at?
I don't know the specifics of the original equipment.
I mean, it's nice that they're providing a 10% discount, and it's for 5 years, parts and labor, it sounds like, but I'd be curious.
Over a really long period of time into these guys, because their equipment is made to be the only equipment that you can possibly use, and you can't swap it out. I understand that business model there. I am curious to know though, have any of these valves and controls been involved in a spill? Any, as far as you're aware of?
Been the root cause of a spill?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So they work.
They do work,
That's good.
yeah, they are.
I'd encourage you guys to look into alternatives in the future, because this is not like they're on a patent and it's gonna expire. This is, you're locked in forever.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just
yeah,
comment
of
on
course.
one? One of the opportunity costs changing away from rotor is that a lot of the newer valve systems are systems, right? And so there's a comment about the valve master station as well. So it's not just changing the actuator itself, it's that they communicate as part of a system, and that's why you have the valve master station. So.
And the valve master station comes with these valves, is that what?
Yeah.
So this is like one.
So it's a
valve.
central communication hub that maybe 20 actuators all communicate with and then go back to the PLC.
Yeah, I think I understand the reasoning there. I think it's a very strong argument when looking into getting into these types of systems, that we try to avoid getting into these types of like super proprietary systems if possible, because we get sort of locked into like $1 million a year, you know, for this contract. Thank you.
Jose, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment or react to the opportunity as we think about these necessary sole source contracts, is that in your presentation in the future you may address, and it's probably already there in the documentation, that there are specific reasons why you have to pursue this. And so I would find it counterproductive if you had to replace or expend more resources because of the opportunity not to do a sole source contract to follow that principle. I think I can agree with my colleague from Poway that it is always best to have a competitive process. But what happens with many of our, shall we say, facilities that have been operating for a long time is that we're trying to keep them going without a full replacement. And I'm only commenting further, not because you just didn't state this, I'm commenting further is maybe we need to have a sole source check-off list so that we don't discuss or challenge once it gets to our level that wasn't the only way they could go. And if there were other ways, you know, is it another, you know, does it add 20%, 30%, 40% to the cost? Because that could quickly resolve the issue of whether or not it was a practical thing to do to continue the sole source. You know, any new facility that is open, I think these principles that are driven by good engineering, where you don't get locked in. And I'm commenting on this because I had the opportunity to get involved in trying to break a 30-year relationship we had with a company that this was with those things that track all the systems, SPA, something they're called. SCADA. So the SCADA contractor and the integrator contractor and the other, there's the three pieces, they all kind of came together. And while there were many SCADA distributors, we couldn't break our relationship with them because they were so particular to our agency. And so I think, you know, I've been gone for 4 or 5 years and I bet you anything, they're still there. But that was with an older facility, and so I do, particularly when you guys bring items that are new, that, you know, we are checking for the kind of engineering that is being described by our colleague. But when it's an older facility that, you know, yeah, we didn't pursue a competitive bid because it would cost this much more because we have to do something different. And I'm trusting that by the time the item gets here and it's been reviewed by our TAC, that these kinds of things have been already addressed and looked at. And,
I have a note that I'll make sure the presentation, especially for sole source agreements, gives a little bit more context to that.
Good.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. And
Just,
I move approval if appropriate.
Just a brief follow-up on Jose's comment. At UCSD, we have something called a sole source procurement justification document, which we have to fill out if we're doing a sole sourcing. Is there something similar at
Yes.
San Diego?
Yes.
All right, so maybe we could get a copy of that.
Be helpful.
Yeah.
I think I said yes to this previously to everybody,
Yeah.
and that did not get implemented, and I'll make sure that that gets implemented, yes.
Thanks a lot.
Because we do have to provide it to our purchasing and contracting department, so. And I think Tim did reference when it was approved, so that is that document he's referencing. Yes, we'll get that to you.
Mr. Mayor, go ahead. Thank you, Chair. One more question, more of a technical nature. You described this as kind of an integrated assembly. Are any of the, like, at the actuator levels, are those like LRUs? Or do you have to replace the whole entire assembly should one part of it fail? LRU is a line replaceable unit. Like,
Yeah, there are some replaceable components within the actuator itself, and that is part of why we, going into the sole source justification, yeah, part of why we have the service portion of the contract as well, which allows them to come out, troubleshoot, and figure out what part of the actuator is in need of
all right.
repair.
Thank you for that explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In my briefing, I asked the same thing from our consultant, and she said that this is the original manufacturer and is very critical of rotor controls. Standardization on one manufacturer is appropriate and is a best practice for critical systems so that we are not questioning which manufacturer to come out when an emergency occurs. They are the actuators of choice for many agencies. Because I asked that question, Mr. Chair, so that's the guidance that I received. Thank you.
Thank you, that's helpful. Anyone else? Just a comment from me, and it's gonna kind of reflect what's already been said. I think it's helpful when we understand kind of the extent of what we're talking about here, the kind of the system, right? The average age is important. How many, you already showed us how many facilities it's in. And it might be helpful if you, I mean, I'm sure you got some software that tells you kind of what the current investment is, or like the replacement cost of the system would be helpful, right? Because if you're not gonna, if we committed to, to a system, and the only alternative is to replace it, then that's helpful to know that, right?
Right.
Now, speaking as a mechanic, if you buy a Ford, you're not gonna put a Chevrolet rear end in it. It's possible, but it doesn't, it's not very, it doesn't work, right? So, I mean, these are kind of the considerations, and it's a 5-year contract, so you won't have to worry about any of this for 5 years, until you come with the next sole source.
Noted.
Anyway, I have a motion from.
I'll second that, Mr. May.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, that concurs. Did you call me Mr. Mayor?
I was gonna say Mr. Chair.
I was gonna, I got promoted or something. Don't get me into trouble.
Sorry.
Okay. Moving on to item 9, discussion and possible action to recommend the following actions to the participating agencies and San Diego. This was heard by the ad hoc twice so far. And since the last ad hoc meeting, the chair and the 2 vice chairs have been updated. Kind of the target here has been moving on a daily basis. I think we're really close. I'm really encouraged at the process and the progress that we've made here. And with that said, I am going to turn this over to our attorney, Adriana Ochoa, and let you proceed from here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the latest with respect to the SARA is that the parties, and I'm talking the Metro Ad Hoc, together with legal counsel from Padre Dam and legal counsel from the city attorney's office, have been in close contact, almost daily contact for the last couple weeks to just work through language that would be acceptable to all sides. So that we presented to the ad hoc in terms of like the big concepts. That has since been revised a couple times back and forth between the parties, and we're now about 99.9% there. We got the most recent version, and we were, a little piece of all of us were hoping that we'd have a revised draft for you ready today, which is why action item number 2 is recommend approval of certain revisions. I don't have those revisions finalized and ready for you today, but like I said, they are 99.9% of the way done. And I'll give you an overview of sort of the main, I will call them like the main 3. There's 2 others that are small and sort of technical, but the main 3 are, 1, the implementation date is, I would say, not changing, but the language is changing because the language said that the agreement, the SARA would be effective on the July 1 after all the parties signed. We're changing that to say it will be implemented July 1, 2026, because it is our hope that Padre Dam will take the revised SARA, once approved by all parties in concept, to its board on the June 17th board meeting. And if that happens, we will come back to this board June 25 and recommend approval to all the PAs of the revised version. And that will get pushed out. Your respective city attorneys, general managers, legal counsels will then make separate determinations regarding whether they can sign the revised version or whether they feel more comfortable bringing that revised version back for ratification, depending on what each of your respective sort of approving resolutions said and whether or not your legal counsel and city managers think the changes are substantial or not. But so the hope is that even if you have to take it back to your respective boards and say July, August, September, the effective date, once all parties have signed, will be retroactive to July 1, 2026. That's important for many reasons, but we want to make sure it gets implemented ASAP. And all parties have agreed to that. The other 2 changes are, so with respect to decision points that affect or that change the FAB, the functional allocated billing, or the functional design methodology. Also decisions that change how the capital expense rate is determined and how repurified water revenue is shared. Basically those financial decisions, we're upping, the Padre Dam requested to up the threshold just for those decisions to 3/4 vote instead of a 2/3 vote. We spoke about that at ad hoc. The ad hoc found that. We've spoken to San Diego about that, and I'll let Lisa speak to it, but in a nutshell, it does appeal functional allocated billing methodology. It's an example. It's an illustrative example of how the methodology works. Look like with staff. But all parties have agreed that that is appropriate and fine to include that exhibit of how FAB is supposed to work as an attachment, as an exhibit to the SARA. So that's the high level overview of the revisions on the table. The most recent status of where the revisions lie is, again, Padre sent their most recent revisions yesterday afternoon. I forwarded them to San Diego. They're under review at the city attorney's office. Our staff has talked to San Diego's staff about them, and it is literally just one paragraph between Padre Dam's team. We are hopeful that we have a final proposed revised draft version of the SARA ready for approval at Padre's June for you, Kyle, so you can weigh in. And at this point, I'll kick it over to Lisa.
Thank you, Adriana. So yes, I just wanted to say I do support everything that Adriana is saying. As it relates to timing, yes, Nothing is gonna probably happen today from our legal counsel, I'm gonna be just setting that up. I did let our attorney enjoy her daughter's graduation from high school today. So that is why we gave that break. So it is the plan, that she will be, touching base. It really is, if you don't know, we've had this experience with Melissa throughout the entire process. She's really good at making some of the language really clear. And so that's all it is to make sure, instead of doing a back and forth, she will be connecting with Padre's attorney tomorrow, to make sure that we're finalizing the wording. We're in agreement on everything. It's just making sure the language meets everybody's both needs. It is clear. That's all it is at this point in time. And so yes, I believe by the end of this week, and by everything else, we're all in agreement. It's just some language on this one section. And I don't have, we talked about it, we don't have concerns with it. Okay?
Very good. I don't think I've ever seen attorneys work this fast.
It is the daily
It's
grind.
been very fast and furious the last week.
Yeah,
Kyle,
and kudos to Padres legal team too, because they've been very, very responsive, and cooperative.
Kyle, you want to weigh in?
No, yeah, I would only add, echo both Lisa and Adriana's comments that, Padre Dam is supportive of, I think, where it's at, and to the 99.9% that we're there, it's really just close. So it's some dotting i's and crossing t's. So I would say fully supportive on that side. It would be going back to the Padre Dam board for their approval on June 17th. So that's just around the corner. And I guess I would lastly say, thank you to the fellow board members here and the teams that are supporting this. It has been a journey, and with ups and downs, but I think ultimately, speaking on the behalf of Padre Dam, that this is a even better, slightly better tweaked document. So I appreciate your guys' understanding and allowing us to put another revision forward, and hopefully that will get fully supported by all here represented. Thank you.
So the intention is, and these, the staff report, as it's just been changing daily, the staff report was drafted last week when the agenda was circulated, and it's got a few recommendations on it. I do recommend the board support actions 1, 3, and 4, and let me explain them. 1 is just direct the executive team to keep working with Padre and San Diego to finalize it as soon as practicable. We're already doing that, it's already being done. And for the most part, we're just sort of staying out of the way right now and making sure Padre and San Diego's legals feel comfortable with the proposed language. Number 3, again, skipping 2 because we don't have those revisions available for your approval today. Number 3 is approve and recommend San Diego implement all applicable provisions of SARA effective July 1. And that's just because we don't want there to be a gap between when when the last party signs and when SARA is implemented. And Lisa can speak to that too, because we have like an interim billing situation, but this is just a recommendation from this board because there's not actually authority to implement anything different until San Diego and the PAs come to an agreement. Number 4 is acknowledge and support the concurrent delivery of a notice of demand for mediation under the ARA, and that's really just a parallel path provision that I think is largely unnecessary, but we want to just cross all our T's and dot all our I's and support San Diego if they decide to send that notice, which maybe, I don't know, if they do. It is really just a parallel path that has been discussed by this board before in terms of making sure we're mediating and talking and getting to a resolution on the SARA, because the ARA did contemplate an amendment, and we want to make sure we get there. So those are the recommendations. Again, my expectation, so I want to highlight in action item number 1 is circulate the revised SARA to all PAs as soon as possible following Padre Dam's approval. So if Padre Dam takes this revised SARA to its board on June 17 and approves it, we would then circulate the red line and a draft final to all PAs so that, Mr. Baber's not here, but in the words of Mr. Baber, you can approve it whenever you want, right? You don't have to wait for this board's recommendation for approval to actually take action on it if you're ready to go. Of course you can, but our plan will be to bring that revised version back on the 25th for a recommendation for approval of the revised draft.
Okay, so I have two speaker slips, but I'm gonna take questions first from the board. Jose, go ahead.
Actually, I don't know if we have public, I don't know if we have public comment. I'd like to hear public comment, but then I'd like to speak.
Well,
to-
let's get the questions from the board first, have the public comment, and then we can come
Oh,
back.
I don't have a question, I have comments.
Okay, make your comments.
Okay. So, I think one of the things that I'd like to do at this point, not on behalf of the ad hoc committee, because all of our members are here and they can share their own thoughts, but one of the opportunities that we have in this kind of last minute opportunity to all of us align is in fact that through some concession and through some work, we are really close to updating an important document that really updates practices that have been underway for decades and brings us to where we are now. Where we are now is that we have 2 or 3 agencies that are pursuing other opportunities, and so their relationship to the system is changing. And also, those of us who remain, we continue with the same relationship, and we're trying to understand how to better move forward together as a regional body. And so I've been very happy the last 2 weeks with all the activity from the attorneys, trying to make sure that they set aside our feelings, emotions, excitement, and just get to the brass tacks of what is this language and what is this language. As you all know, I voicing the opinion of my city, have been opposed completely to anything that remained close to unanimous in any way. But I think at the late hour, Padre Dan's proposal to request the 3/4 on the specific area that continued to be one of their concerns is an appropriate concession on our behalf, and I'm hoping that all of us join in support of that concession. I think it just bridges that divide that was holding us back. And so some of the particulars and some of the I-dotting and T-crossing that is underway right now, sometimes it's just part of the process of our legal counsel doing their job. And I really appreciate that. And I guess what I'm commenting on is that I don't want to be side-eyeing Kyle anymore.
That works for me.
I actually appreciate the advocacy from Padre Dam for their ratepayers, and I value it as much as I value my advocacy for my ratepayers. And so, in that context, I look forward to seeing this move forward, and I hope all of us can support and adopt what remains an almost great document. I guess it's 99.9% great. It's almost there. I'm sure we'll get there in the next couple of days. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Those were my remarks.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I did have a couple of questions, and then later maybe some comments. Question number 1, you referenced one paragraph that's still under discussion. Can you give us a thumbnail? What's that
Yes,
about?
sure. It is, so paragraph section 15 of the SARA is the section that introduces the joint administrative approval process. There was some back and forth on where should the 3/4 vote go? Where in the agreement does it belong? Does it belong here, here, here? And San Diego, their proposed language stuck it in section 15 because that is where that whole process is laid out. First reading, second reading, 2/3 vote. And then at the end of the paragraph, they said, except that any changes to FAB, including the functional design methodology, required to be approved by way of an administrative agreement under section 5.2.1.3. Any changes to how repurified water revenue is shared under 6.6, the capital expense rate is determined as set forth in 6.7, or pure water program cost allocation and revenues for phase 2 are calculated under section 7, shall require approval by no less than 3/4 of the members of the Metro JPA during a duly noticed public meeting. In other words, upon the affirmative vote of at least 9 or more of the 12 members of Metro JPA, irrespective of how many Metro JPA directors are present at the meeting. And that is the language, and that is what is just getting that the final review by San Diego, and it's really also a matter of, did we reference the right sections? Did we reference the right point? Do we need to throw point 2 in there, you know? But that is the paragraph that is under review.
All right, thanks. I'm not worried you'll land that ship. I'm sure you will. The second question I have is, assuming the 1% that's still up in the air falls into place, how quickly do you need us to react at our home agency? Should we start the wheels moving now?
I don't think it's a bad idea to lay the groundwork with staff and let them know that a revised draft is likely coming soon, so that they can be ready to throw it on an agenda if they think that's appropriate. I wouldn't be surprised if some agencies put it on consent, because it is pretty minimal, and when you look at the red line, it's not gonna be a lot, a red line. But of course, that's up to each agency's determination. But yes, I think it's a good idea to lay the groundwork, to give folks a heads up, because I'm very optimistic it's gonna happen.
And do you have a target deadline that you'd like us to all get that done by?
Can I add?
Yep.
So, I mean, I would also advise you can start the work now. I think because Kyle's committing to like June 17th, he will have that most latest version. I mean, you can just take it from his website. We can send it to you guys knowing it's subject to that approval. You will have that just in a couple weeks. So you could start that process within 2 weeks. And then, yes, the sooner the better, but it is, I do appreciate kind of the concession that we asked for, is that if we could do this to make sure it is effective July 1st. That was something very important to us, but we just don't want to drag this on anymore. So if you guys can kind of work up, I would sit there, hopefully by August, we're going to start doing the August billing. You'll get your August invoice, so hopefully everything is by then. But I'm going to leave it up to you. I know some agencies are a little bit harder. I'm not going to speak for the county, because I know how hard it is for us in the city.
We'll work on it.
So it's going to take a little bit. That reminds me, I got to do it. Sorry, I just realized that myself.
Yeah, San Diego's gotta do it too. Yeah, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
But we don't have any specific timeline, because we've put that retroactive effective date to July 1 in there. We're a little bit less concerned, but I would strongly, and also cognizant of the fact that some agencies, some folks take, you know, a summer month off, or July's off, or June, or August. So.
Only National City.
Can I assume,
Hey, no.
too, that if, should any of us be surprised and get questions about the revisions, you guys will be available to come and.
Absolutely, absolutely available to address any questions from your city attorneys, from staff. It will be taken to TAC, although I'm forgetting the specific dates of all of that, because the priority will be to bring it as quickly as possible to this group, so that you can take it as quickly as possible to your home agencies. So if you could put it on your agendas for July, great. If you have to wait to August because of whatever, that's okay too, just the sooner the better.
All right, I got my legs in the starting blocks, and I hope
Yeah.
And from the chair, just so you know, we will be putting in just as much effort to keep you all informed and answer any questions as we did the first time around, so.
Great.
I'm not sure I can make all the meetings, you guys, your schedule. I'd rather it be scheduled so close that I can't make them all, but we'll go from there. Any other questions or comments?
Through the chair,
Yes.
National City is starting July, and I'm concerned about the briefing that I received of the interbilling rates that our share is going to increase. So I wanted to get that resolved, or get those information as soon as possible, so I can also,
So Adriana referenced it, and I will let you know. So right now, we had at TAC talked about interim billing, because at that time, we did not think we were gonna be moving forward. So we had to do that. It is our intent right now, based on how this discussion, if you guys are voting for this, the commitments in regards that we're hearing from Kyle, that what we will be doing is implementing FAB. That is for an August invoice date. We're committing that as soon as we will be sending that information out after this meeting. So you have all that one, and that is not our intent to do the interim.
thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? I just have one. I recall there were some concerns about bond rating this, what we do affecting the bond rating, does this solve your problem? Does what we're doing here today, does that help?
Help,
Okay, it
yes.
doesn't solve it, but it
I
helps.
don't know what solves anything in bond
Well,
right now. But yes, it does help us. We believe that this helps us tell the story of how the city is addressing these considerations, and how we are addressing that. So yes, we do believe that is helpful.
And a big portion of that is the industrial,
It's not the industrial waste, it's just being prepared for how do you handle in regards to these facilities that have to do peak flow, and how do you handle with roll-off, and how are you best supporting yourself in the long term, and being prepared that you can pay for all these things.
okay.
So that's really what it is.
All right, well, unless there's any other questions, I'm gonna take public comment now. And my first slip is for Suzanne Till, did I pronounce it? Is it Susan or Suzanne?
Suzanne.
There you go, Suzanne Till.
Ooh, almost there.
It's not our facility.
No, the red light is off. It's backwards from what we're used to.
So
There you go.
you got it,
You're on.
okay, great.
You're good.
Good afternoon, thank you for letting me speak. My name is Suzanne Till. I'm Director and Vice President of Padre Dam Municipal Water District, but today I am speaking as a private citizen of Santee. I cannot thank you from the bottom of my heart for the continued discussions, good job attorneys, by the way, and the work you all are doing to work with our concerns voiced at Padre Dam Municipal Water District. We really believe in fairness of a voting system for the county, the special districts and the cities. Unfortunately, our experience with the San Diego County Water Authority, as some of you know, that has been a problem with governance, with the weighted voting system, and I'm so happy to hear that we're trying to be fair and equitable. I am also happy to hear that we have to start planning, as with water, sewer levels will go down, period, end of story. And we have to plan for the roll-off for water purification. That is the number one thing that's going to save this region right now. We are doing the right thing at the East County AWP. We're doing what's right for the oceans, rivers, and we are providing more affordable water than the County Water Authority. And one of the things that I think is so amazing that has been brought up, and I'll keep bringing it up over and over again, is that if the city would work with us for pure water, phase 2, and take our 15 MTD, 13 to 15 MTD, we will save the city $200 to $250 million in capital funds and $18 million a year in operations and maintenance. We want to work with you. So I thank you again. I hope we continue this relationship. But also, we are here to work with our ratepayers. I am hopeful also that Supervisor Joel Anderson understands the savings that the East County AWP not only brings for East County, but for City of San Diego and the metro region as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to,
Twice.
I guess you know who the next speaker is.
It's not your facility, so.
We told Lisa she was gonna have to take the heat for this, so.
I just want to acknowledge Suzanne Tillen for her dedication to these issues. She and I partnered together nearly 30 years ago on some of the issues I mentioned earlier regarding the water quality in the Tijuana River Valley problems. I would say this is a cautionary note. One of the things I discovered before I was elected to the legislature, and then as I was serving in office, the state has given the City of San Diego state revolving funds in the past. And quite frankly, you misled this organization about the charges that you were filing at the time. According to the Kroll report that was issued 20 years ago, you overcharged ratepayers and you subsidized industrial hookups and users. And this is a matter of public record. So I sit here with some skepticism about what the City of San Diego is proposing, because I know from the history that this agency has not always had a fair hand by the city. And I think that the answer is not fixed rates, because you're dealing with things as Suzanne Till described, which are flexible, which are changing. When I was chair of the Sierra Club and legal committee, and we sued the city to force them to build the water reclamation plants, that was going in the right direction. What we didn't envision is that the city would look at this as a financial boon to then pass on cost and trade water and make money. We're going in the wrong direction. The rest of the world considers water a human right. City of San Diego seems to consider it a commodity to use to raise money for themselves. So some things haven't changed, I'm afraid. And the city of San Diego really needs to be more equitable in its dealing with how you manage the disposal of waste. And I think just as we learned at the state level, when cars are more fuel efficient, we have less gas taxes and we have to figure out other ways to pay for road repairs. When people are more or use water conservation measures, we shouldn't punish them by increasing fixed rates in exchange. There have to be other ways to manage these rising costs. So I'm going to sit here and continue to listen. I could understand if I raise some concerns. But again, it has been my experience and my history as a person who was born and raised in San Diego and is paying more and more and more for water. Now that I'm retired and on a fixed income, it's not a comfortable situation to be in, along with more and more on power. The city of San Diego needs to start doing something differently than it's been doing for my lifetime, and not seeing water as a commodity, but more as something that people have a right to without these increased costs to cover their expenses. Thank you.
Jose, go ahead.
Yes, I celebrate and support our relationship and cooperation with the city of San Diego for many reasons. I was a part of County Water Authority and saw a variety of agencies with different perspectives. Imagine how better it would be if they just had more influence than the majority of us who were ratepayers. And so one of the things that I always believe is that while we can make announcements and pronouncements, we should also try to find ways to get to where the information is and where we are as policymakers making decisions. I really believe that when I'm invited to make decisions about rates, when I'm invited to make decisions about attributing costs to the right people that need to pay for those things, that the principles around Prop 218 are informing my legal folks, my professional folks, and us as the legislative bodies that come up with these things. So to the extent that I share in the responsibility of providing a regional service of water treatment, and where I have provided a regional service in imported water and things of that nature, I hope that I've always made decisions in that context of following the law and attributing costs to the actual users. There is no one unique or special that is going to pay for water when it costs this much to deliver it or to provide it to the individual household. And I live on 1165 Hollister Street near the Tijuana River Valley. So for me, the experience was not hypothetical. It wasn't because I was driving by. I lived there. My parents still live in that immediate community. And so there are many of us who have been involved in this for decades as well. And we have different views and different perspectives. What it will be challenging for me is, as I've shared it on this board, is right now we don't have proportional representation or weighted vote. And that is only something we allow or continue to allow and participate in because we have a community that shares our values. And I think signing this new SARA is that shared value. But if it got to the point where small agencies would somehow have more influence, and this may be challenging to hear for those of you who are older SANDAG members. Chula Vista used to be at the back end of SANDAG decisions for decades, until proportional representation shuffled it a little bit. Now SANDAG may not be the greatest agency that ever lived, and I've never served actually, so you all owed it. But in the agencies that I've been a part of, I just want to make sure that I've always voted to create rate structures that attribute cost and charge the individuals what they're supposed to pay. Not what we great to pay or what we perceived as fair to pay. And I'm only commenting this because I always believe that I'm doing what is humane in providing the service. Water is a right, but the way the law is set up right now, we have to attribute costs to all the users in a proportional way. And I think the same is true for sewer. And quite frankly, to operate our system, we do need a system of fixed costs. That is the only way we can function and appropriately survive. I don't know if there is a better system out there, but if it is and it complies with the law, or if new laws are passed and we can follow that, I'm happy to be a part of it. But until that happens, I'm hoping that all of us as policymakers can continue to follow the law as we set rates. Because I don't know any other way right now. And so with that, Mr. Chair, I yield back, and I look forward to voting on the items we can vote for today.
I want to speak to the relationship we have with San Diego with this, between this body and the city of San Diego. It is definitely not what it was when I took the chair in 2017. It's definitely more collaborative. We have seats at the table, many tables with San Diego as they make decisions. Phase 2 is one of them that we never had before. Sarah gives us, for the first time, actual veto rights in how we proceed. This is huge, you know. So we've held their feet to the fire. They've responded and they've been very inclusive. And Sarah codifies everything that we've worked on between our staffs and us and the city of San Diego. This is a huge step forward. And I think it answers a lot of the concerns that we heard from the speakers as we move forward. How the water world works is not exactly, I think, anything anybody is going to know how the future goes from here, because this purification will change all of that. There's no question about that. In terms of phase 2, it appears that may be in flux, and those decisions might be changing. We don't know. We've heard that there's some talks. I do know that my engineering staff has put together some numbers in terms of what savings might be realized in phase 2. I think the picture really isn't completely clear there yet. So, I mean, I think my estimation, we're at least a year, maybe 2 out from that. Looking at least on that, if my guess is correct.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, as noted by Ms. Till, that is an item that is being reviewed as part of the phase 2 work.
Correct.
Is if you can reduce it from what is East County in that. So that is being on the table, actively being reviewed. Yes, probably somewhere around a year or so, hopefully closer to the year mark for the timeline.
I would be happy with that. But I also want you to know that, including Padres project, the production from Padres process has been on the table, and we have pushed it and discussed it within our JPA, and we've discussed it between us and San Diego, so it's never been off the table. Okay, we're out there taking all things into consideration, and the deal is we're here to do the best for our ratepayers, all of our ratepayers. So I just want to be clear on that. So, are there any other questions before we start taking motions? I'm going to start with Peter, and then I'll come back to you.
I just wanted to comment and express my appreciation to staff for their efforts here. I know there's been a lot of movement, and I'm looking forward to seeing, this come to completion. And we'll try to be first. It's kind of like,
Well, the race is on now.
You mean you're gonna beat La Mesa?
I was thinking that.
We're gonna do our best. Just a quick comment. I did hear some comments about fixed costs, which, is because of infrastructure costs. One thing we should consider here is with the I&I studies that we're doing, that's going to reduce you know, our need for the system in terms of capacity. So right now,
Good.
you could say, basically say we have an oversized system that's based on historical use, but you can't really change the pipes. But one thing to consider, you know, is maybe if we all get together and do reduce our uses, that, you know, maybe staff will look into cycling the pumps less often or something like that, to reduce some of those costs and reduce those fixed costs over time. So hopefully we'll see some movement on the technical side of staff to give us some options on what it'll take to actually reduce the infrastructure costs. Because like Jose says, we all need to pay our fair share. Thank you.
Sir, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to say thanks to the speakers for coming. It was a pleasure to see you. I wish we would have more people come, particularly informed people like yourself. So I thank you for that and know that we are listening to what you have to say. Second thing is, I don't want to jump the gun. We've still got 1% to go, so I have a lot of thoughts and comments I want to make on this process, but I'm going to hold them until that 1% lands. As they say, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're not out to get you, right?
I like Dwight.
Anybody else? So it appears we're ready for a motion. Do you want to take these one at a time?
It's at the preference of the board. I will just point out that the staff report identifies the actions as 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the agenda identifies it as A, B, C, and D. So you could really pick either because the staff report has one and
Move approval of items A, C, and D, right? Because we're setting aside B as presented in the agenda packet and referenced in the agenda packet.
I have a motion and a second. Do you have those, Lord? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimous. That takes us another little notch closer. Thank you. Moving on. All right, item 10. Discussion and possible action to recommend the following action to the participating agencies and San Diego. One, request participating agencies adopt any necessary industrial waste ordinance revisions associated with SARA implemented as soon as practicable. See sample. Oh gosh, you guys are killing me here. Read it for yourselves. Who's making?
I'm happy to take it.
Okay, go ahead. You guys are killing me here.
So this is actually an extension of the action this board took back in, I believe, October, because administrative agreement number 1 includes with it a sample ordinance, which we have always described and continue to describe as belt and suspenders, because the reason, recall, that you approved administrative agreement number 1 is because the administrative agreement concept doesn't exist until SARA is approved. So because we wanted those administrative agreements to be effective on the same date as SARA, we decided to have all of the participating agencies approve both the administrative agreement and the SARA. And then it can be amended through the joint administrative approval process. But that administrative agreement number 1 required the agencies to adopt an ordinance, and this is because some agencies already have ordinances on industrial waste, and you want to make sure you're replacing an ordinance with an ordinance. And it is the ordinance that delegates authority to San Diego to operate the industrial waste discharge pretreatment and enhanced source control program. So this is really more just like a friendly reminder to have everyone adopt those ordinances ASAP, because many of you approved the SARA and administrative agreement number 1, and then the next step is to adopt the ordinance. So make sure that next step gets done, is the request.
Any questions? Motion? Look at the two ends of the dais. Got a motion from the vice chair.
Okay, second.
We got a second from Imperial Beach Mayor.
What exactly is the motion?
And it was Director Kendrick. Oh, the motion is to request participating agencies adopt any necessary industrial waste ordinance revisions associated with SARA implementation as soon as practicable.
Okay, thanks.
They put the rest of that in to mess with me. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimous.
Yeah, I just want to add that earlier this week, we resent the administrative agreement number 1, which has been approved by everybody. Poverty Dam will be moving forward with that on June 17th as well, to your technical staff, so that, and I know some of the technical staff already have them like 3/4 or 9/10 done, and they're just getting ready to, when should we take it to our city council? So all we're really doing is to just make sure that this moves forward. TAC representatives are aware of this and are working on it. So thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item 11, wastewater update. Lisa?
The first update that I have is, if you hadn't heard, Juan Guerrero has left the city of San Diego. He's gone into consulting. He had spent 10 years here. And so last week was, or actually Monday was his last official day. I have been appointed the interim director of public utilities, with hopefully becoming the permanent public utilities, and we'll know more by probably the beginning of next month. So just wanted to give you that update. The other thing is a lot of you may have saw kind of transition, kind of going over both the water and wastewater world. The Bureau of Rec was here out yesterday signing an agreement with the San Diego County Water Authority, an MOU, to set the framework for selling water across state boundaries. Really positive thing is thereafter, in the afternoon, the Bureau of Rec actually did a tour of Pure Water. The commissioner and also staff, so that was really great to highlight. I guess there was a comment made yesterday, we should just build all kinds of more desal plants across California. We know how some of our environmental community feel about that very strongly, but he had never seen a reuse facility, so he was here, and so take that advantage and said, so really great, those are a great alternative to desal. So I just wanted to give you guys those updates.
Very good, thank you. Any questions? No questions. Moving on to item 12.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, there were no more speaker slips available. I picked up the last 2, and there are some items I'd like to address, but I didn't have the paperwork. Do you have more slips available? All right.
Sure, what items do you want to speak on?
The financial report that's coming up, and the Pure Water report, which is the next item.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Lisa, when you be still here, when the changes come, or we have a different face?
Yes, actually, technically, Juan actually should have been here. That is a more external facing, but because I have been working with you guys for numerous years, I kind of kept and retained, sorry, I kept you as mine. So now it is appropriate for me, and so this would fall completely within my role.
Excellent.
Yes,
All right, thank you.
absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and I'm hoping we can put some more skin in the game so that even though this is in our own facility, that, and please, every one of us needs to promise we're not going to buy our own facility. We want to continue to be welcomed here, and so Lisa, to the extent some of us are appreciative we can come and meet here, because we do not want to buy another facility just so that we can meet once a month. And so
We're just meeting Chulas.
you don't try to even schedule a meeting. It's a funny place. But all I want to say is if there's anything we can do as an organization to upgrade what is available so that we can have the video, the software, I think it'd be a very nice offering. And I realize we're both a commission and a JPA, so we have that unusual relationship with the city, but under no circumstances, please, please, please never agendize buying our own facility for a once-a-month meeting.
We're getting a little off the agenda here, but just to answer your question, just to put your mind at ease, I believe this is some discussion for the succession planning committee, isn't it?
Yes, as soon as we have our new executive director in place, we're going to call succession planning, or maybe we'll even do it in June and have him join us. We need to thoroughly discuss, we have done 2 beta tests with the hybrid system here. Lori is looking into how other JPAs run their meetings. So we're gathering information, and we want to go through it as part of, other things, but as well as social media with the succession planning ad hoc as requested by your board several months ago, once we had the new executive director in place. So we're getting ready to bring you all kinds of updates.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to item, which item was it that you want to talk about?
13, financial.
12 and 13?
13.
Just 13, okay. So moving to item 12, Pure Water update, this is Doug Owen. Oh, you're not Doug.
I'm not Doug.
You guys are really working hard.
We interchanged from up. You guys confused. All right, are we able to pull it up on the screen? Or, I'm not sure if that's an option.
There you go.
There we go. Not that that's tremendously readable. But so for our monthly update, so the update that you see on the screen is through March 31st of 2026. I'll narrate a few items because I know that's not super readable, but overall in the program, we are continuing commissioning activities. So a few key major milestones coming up. The Marina South and Middle project, the Marina Pipeline, which is the force main coming north up to North City Water Rec, as well as the Bryan Centrate line going back to the south. All the pipe is in ground. So we have fully completed installation of the pipe. There's still some ongoing paving and cleanup work. So you'll see there in column 4, Marina Commain South and Middle is 95% complete. Marina Northern alignment and tunnels, so the 805 tunnel, of course, is complete. They're wrapping up work on some of the risers on either side of the tunnel. They're up to 84% complete, but here in the next month, we anticipate all of that piping will be in the ground as well. So major milestone there, finishing up the major pipeline work through that very congested corridor of the city. And then the other major wastewater related cost, we have our North City Water Reclamation Plant. We're up to 82% complete. As we mentioned before, we've commissioned the new secondary clarifiers. We've commissioned some of the new process trains that were built by Kiewit in order to then release the previously operating trains to be rehabilitated. So that one's an interesting one because we're continually commissioning, right? It's not like you build it all and then you commission. That one's commissioning in pieces as we go, but making great progress on that site there at the North City Water Reclamation Plant. So as of the end of March, we're up to 87% complete construction for the overall program. Moving over to the right to talk about current change orders. So in the last quarter, we have had approximately $1.7 million of wastewater related change orders. These consist of, at the North City Water Reclamation Plant, we've had multiple change orders out there. The $1.35 million at North City Water Reclamation Plant, it's made up of change orders to address some access issues in the new electrical building. We had some existing control wiring issues that needed to be reconciled. And then, as many of you know, when working at existing facilities, 30 years old, we rely on isolation gates and existing concrete structures, seals and concrete walls. As Kiewit's been working through to dewater some of these facilities, some of the valves haven't held, some of the gates haven't held. There's been a need to do some expansion joint replacement. So we've had some change orders related to the inability to dewater. There's some additional service air piping installation, and the most significant item in this last quarter was we showed an alignment for a new major duct bank. When Kiewit got in there and explored that alignment, it wasn't going to work. There were too many conflicts along the alignment, so they had to realign and come up with an entirely new alignment. That added some cost on electrical duct bank installation. For the equalization basin at the water reclamation plant, we had $200,000 worth of change orders in the past quarter related to some controls infrastructure changes, and then there were some unforeseen subsurface conditions that affected both the electrical installation as well as the routing of the 30-inch primary effluent tie-in to that new equalization basin. And then the last project that had some changes that have wastewater associated costs As the Marina South and Middle project, we had about $120,000 worth of change orders. These were affiliated with the extension of the owner's representative field office through the anticipated construction completion. So there's been delays on these projects, so this was extension of that allowance for those field offices to support the construction management and oversight of the contractors on that project. And looking forward to our update next quarter. So we, a big upcoming milestone, the Marina Pump Station. So this is beyond the March 31st date, but Marina Pump Station has completed its loop checks. So that means they've checked all the signal wiring and verified that it's properly terminated instruments and valve actuators and pumps. And we're going to be starting some of our clean water testing on that facility here in the next month. So hopefully by the end of summer, we'll have Marina Pump Station online. And you'll see, many of the wastewater related projects are kind of leading the charge. So you'll see them kind of getting to completion. And then our critical path now is going through the pure water facility and the pure water pipeline, which are water related costs to get that water actually delivered to Miramar Reservoir and Water Treatment Plant. And that's it. That concludes our update.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I had a couple questions about the change orders.
Yeah.
One, maybe everybody already knows this, but you've got listed in a footnote the deductive ones. There are 20 million bucks coming back our way. Why aren't those included cumulatively with the change orders you show?
Yeah, so it is included in the accounting of Metro, right? Because what happened is that contract was initially awarded that included some components of the project that were not covered within the PLA of the City of San Diego. So there was a decision or a requirement to pull those back out of the scope. So when those got pulled out of the scope, we didn't take that money and put it into the pooled contingency of Pure Water program to use. We weren't allowed to put it in the Pure Water contingency. So that's why we don't reflect it here. We just essentially carved it out and took it out of the scope.
Okay.
But we acknowledge that here, that the overall accounting of the program cost is included in that.
All right, that makes sense.
Yep.
Second question is, roughly, if I'm looking at these numbers, their change orders are running about 20%. What was the original estimate that you expected change orders to run?
Yeah, so when the project was established, there was a 10% pooled contingency established, and then the city did go back and pursue in late 2024 an extension of that to 20%. And the rationale for expanding that to 20% is with the ongoing supply chain issues affiliated with wars, COVID, whatever you want to tie them to, but there are legitimate supply chain and cost escalation issues. 20% is more in line with how major programs are performing now, so it was necessary for the city to go back and get that additional allocation to get the pool up to 20%.
All right, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Mark, question?
So Ben, bring this up to Doug on a regular basis, and that's, what do you think it's gonna be, Doug? It's gonna be Friars and Marina. So what's the status of that? What exactly is going on there, and what's causing any kind of delay?
Yeah, so the major delay on Marina Pump Station originally was the dewatering issue that was encountered, right? And they did do a secant wall construction, and that's the facility, we're doing loop checks on that facility, right? We're up out of the ground, everything is pretty much there. Then we did have another unforeseen ground condition issue around one of the diversion structures. And similarly with that one, there was another delay on that. We're up out of the ground, right? The secant wall's in, they're almost to the top, almost finishing up that diversion structure. So we're past those issues now in the schedule. It's all accounted for, the delays. And Marina Pump Station, as it currently stands, is gonna be ahead of when we need that water for our ramp up of purified water.
So that section of Friars Road will be open.
I don't have the exact date, yeah. It's getting close. They need to finish diversion structure 3, right? They're past the dewatering
I
issue.
mean, it's been torn up for a super long time.
It's been a long time, yes.
What about the other project? Marina not Pump Station.
Marina Pipeline, I'm not sure. if that
Yes,
is
there's
involved.
another water project that's going for that.
Separate from pure water.
That was the
Oh,
one that was originally.
So that's
on-
what's causing the closure of Friars?
I'm not 100% sure she'll let us follow it.
Yeah, we're not quite done with diversion structure 3,
Oh.
but I would have to follow up to see, is there something that's gonna prolong it?
Okay,
past
so-
diversion
and then
structure?
moving on to the bigger question, I just figured I'd ask that one as well,
Yep.
as long as you were
Yep.
sitting there. You were talking about how you're commissioning the different components as you go along.
Yep.
So do you have an ETA at this point? Obviously, you have to have testing, of the facility and then operational, so.
Yeah.
When do you, at this point, could you even guess estimate when you can be operational?
We're still pressing for December of this year to put water in the reservoir. And then, you know, there's a lot of risk remaining, right? We've actually improved on the regulatory risk front. For a while, we were concerned about the regulators' turnaround times on review of key regulatory required documents, but we've gotten approval on our ramp-up plan, we've got approval on our joint plan. So there's a lot of the regulatory documents that are now being addressed. But this, you know, this is a well-coordinated dance, right? We have to have the construction contractors complete, test out the facility, and then we have to have the regulators come in and inspect it and provide their approvals, and we have the city staff, and operation maintenance staff taking over these facilities and operating them.
So when you talk about, I think you said North City West was about 84%?
North City Water Rec Plant, I think is 82. Or,
so when you throw those numbers around, do you have to be at 100% to meet that December, or not really?
not necessarily. So there can still be, there's still some, what we have in our contract, we have some intermediate, substantial, and substantial completion dates. We don't have to have final completion. So there still can be some site cleanup, some remaining works of paving and grading on pipelines.
So you could be at 90% and be delivering water to.
Probably more 95+%, but yeah, we don't have to have 100%. And then one other caveat, and this is really getting into the finer details of the program, we don't have to have the water reclamation plan fully complete in order to start delivering to the reservoir. Because the full completion of the water reclamation plan is to get it up to the 54 MGD, right, the future design capacity for the full 30 MGD of purified water. The regulators require us to start only at 7.5 MGD of the reservoir. So we're able to start up this facility, even if the Marina system wasn't fully integrated, we would be able to go all the way to delivery. So there are some kind of, you know, finer details of this overall schedule of getting water to the reservoir.
Yeah, that's all I have, thank you.
So for clarification, for the board, can you kind of describe, it's wrapping up 7.5 for the first phase?
Yep.
Is it 3 phases?
Three phases. Yeah, so the Department of Drinking Water required us to start with delivering only up to 7.5 MGD daily average, or MGD average per month.
And that milestone will be made when?
So we're gonna start delivering end of the year is what we're still starting.
Okay, December.
Right. And then
then the next step?
Yeah, the next step would be 15, so we have to operate for 2 months, collect samples and data, you know, prove the operation of the system, put together a package, submit it to DDW, get approval from DDW, then we can move to the 15. So we've assumed 4 months. We have to do 2 months of sampling. We've assumed going through that whole approval process to take 4 months. Then we do another 4 months at 15 MGD, and then we do another, we're free to operate at 30, but we do another, you know, data collection, turn it in, and then DDW fully signs off.
So it's safe to say that by the end of 27, we'll be fully functional?
Yes, and that's what the cooperative agreement commitments are, is the end of 2027.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you. We'll take public comment. You wanted to speak on this one?
Yes, I thought this was the 35% change orders is extremely high, and it is not a delivery problem or a supply problem, it is a water problem, of flooding in the construction area. They had to lift up the pump higher than they had anticipated. And I have encouraged the city council for some time to take a look, as the Bay Area has done, at the impact of even minor sea level changes on groundwater in these areas along the coast. Again, having grown up in this area, I remember when, you know, well, I'm not old enough to remember when they transformed Mission Bay into what it is now, but this is a very unstable salt marsh area. There was a massive sinkhole a few months ago as part of the project being done in this area. It is not stable, and in fact, I think if there was new hydrology analysis in this area, they would find that the groundwater level has shifted and has changed. And this is alongside the San Diego River, actually just on the edge. As you mentioned, Friars Road has been closed for years. I live in Claremont near Genesee Avenue, where the Genesee Avenue has been impacted likewise for years because of the delivery system that is going into place. So this project has dragged on for a very, very long time. But looking at a 35% increase in costs and alleging that it's because of supply issues and COVID, I believe is just not accurate. I think that they had to re-engineer the elevation of that station because of changes in groundwater levels. And I would appreciate if somebody could verify that that really is the case, that these costs are gone over budget because the water table has shifted. And it's going to continue to shift going forward. And I hope that this board will look at that. And if the city of San Diego doesn't take this seriously, I hope this board will, because that will impact all your below ground infrastructure in the years and decades to come. It is shifting, it is putting pressure on it, and it will start to fail because of these pressures of groundwater onto infrastructure that it was anticipated would not be impacted by this. And it's happening faster and faster. So I want to encourage you to look at it. It's not just a cost issue, it is literally an ongoing groundwater problem in many of these low-lying areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben, could you address some of the concerns for
Yeah,
us?
so just the one comment, she did.
Would you come to the microphone?
Yeah, sorry.
Because we do record these.
Yep. The comment is correct that on the Marina Pump Station, yes, I think that's the one she's referring to, that it is 35% change orders on Marina Pump Station, and a major contributing element to it has been the groundwater. So I could say yes on that. When I was referring to the 20%, I was referring to the overall.
Right.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually raise the pump station, we
No.
built secant walls.
We built a secant wall to hold the water back while it was being constructed.
Okay, so, and I know that's not something that anybody anticipated going in, so. I mean,
They knew there was groundwater present, it was just more substantial than the engineer had
More than they figured.
stated, yeah.
Go ahead, Peter.
Actually, sort of following up on the secant wall, is it gonna be strong enough if water levels do go up for the groundwater?
Yeah, so the structure itself has, substantial concrete walls, and it has water stops and everything. It has measures in place to prevent seepage into the structure. So yeah, it's beyond the capability. It would support increasing the groundwater table. The secant wall is just necessary to dewater for construction, right? It's not serving a long-term purpose.
Oh, it is.
But is there something, is there something in place to keep the thing from like flooding?
Well, the site, top of the site's above grade, right?
Okay,
So there will be groundwater pressure on the walls of the structure, but the walls themselves are designed.
So, okay, so
Yeah.
even if the water table does go up,
Even if the water table
it's
does
not gonna
rise.
float like a boat or something?
No.
Okay, any other questions for anyone? Dexter, is there anything you want to add? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 13. Mr. Jones, I see you back here waiting for your turn.
I've been waiting. You guys will be disappointed. I have a very short item today, so enjoy that. The city received its bond proceeds for the sewer system last Wednesday. As this board is aware, if you've been discussing with your TAC members, one of the things the city did in this last billing cycle was increase the amount of assumed reimbursements from the bonds into the metro system, which reduced your amount of PAYGO contributions, which decreased your bill for the next coming fiscal year. So we've received those funds. We're using some of them this year. We'll be confirming them with the estimates we provided you. And then as you guys are aware, once the fiscal year closes, 2 years from now, especially with our new auditors, we'll have an audit, and then any refunds or invoices will be done. So very excited for that. The final item, as Lisa mentioned in the items previously, your TAC members were given a presentation at their meeting on interim billing and the FAB billing, and given discussions of how those changed from the original estimate, the revised estimate, and these ones. So based on the discussion at today's meeting and the actions of the board, your staff on the tax side will be getting the supporting documentations for FAB as required under the existing amended and restated agreement. So I wanted to thank this board for your clear direction and support, and we'll be providing the required information under our current agreement until our new agreement is executed. So very much appreciate the board's time today, and available for any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions? You're gonna let him off the hook that easy? Thank you.
He's just so thorough.
All right, moving on to report general counsel.
I wasn't sure if there was public comment on the item.
No,
I have no,
she had the wrong one.
right. I have no, report for this evening.
Wow, everybody's getting off easy today.
I know, I've been different.
Moving on. What's that?
I have no questions.
No questions? Oh, you guys. Report, JP Executive Director's report?
Yes, I just wanted to, that my report is in your agenda packet. I'm happy to answer any questions. I also sent out early this month, the one for the last month, and you should have received that this week. I did want to comment on one item because it's an ongoing issue. We have, on Monday, I discovered that you could not access any of the past documents on our website and our existing website. And so right now, since we are in transition and we'll be moving to our new website, hopefully within 2 weeks, we have notified Granicus. They have never been that cooperative. They did say that they are working on it and have said that it is an iBot that attacked their system, which I do not understand what that means. But there is a notice on the top of it if you try to go find an old agenda like I did Monday morning for research, that you'll be denied access, and I do apologize for this. We also have found that ever since our treasurer notified them of our intent to not renew our contract with them, they have been a little less than cooperative in fixing issues. So please understand as we go through the rest of this month. I have done my first 360 review on our new website. I am just really excited about it. We're really hoping that that we can post our agenda for the special meeting on our new website. And then we plan, since we have so many more, what I will call buckets on this website, to put information to make it really so that people can find our budgets and our audits, everything about pure water. We're going to need to populate that with all the information that we had just crammed into one place on our old website. So that's going to take us a few more months, but we were able, thank heavens, that very early on, our website consultant did download over 800 items off of our existing website, so that is all safe and tucked away in our new website. So what you can't access right now is protected. So I just wanted to reassure you on that. If you happen to be like me, I go on the website daily and use it for research. If you go on there and look for something, the only thing you can really get right now is it's the current agenda. I even noticed that our things under news you can't access. So I want to say to Padre Dan and to Kyle, we had a full packet of everything, you know, staff report, the one-page summary, etc. on the website. If you need it, I'm happy to send it to you. Because right now you can't there's a nice, you know, 3-pager on FAB. If you need that, I'm happy to send anything that you need to get you ready for your agenda. And I do apologize to everybody for the interruption on our website. Any questions? Yes.
Go ahead.
Director.
No, I with the chairman's indulgence, I wanted to take this opportunity. I don't know if today is your last meeting as our executive director or next.
Next,
next
July
meeting.
1st is the effective date for the new executive director.
So she has one more.
So I won't spend the time then today to recognize you, but I am seeking an opportunity if we can agendize some sort of resolution or some sort of acknowledgement for our first, our founding executive director, if we can acknowledge that position, and that we do have that opportunity. You've innovated, you've brought a lot of new things to us since we named you executive director. That is just one small piece of the enormity of your contribution to this organization. And I just want to make sure that while you will continue to be connected to us in your other role, that we find some time at the next meeting to acknowledge your work and your contributions as executive director. I know you'll continue at, what is it, financial consultant?
Financial consultant. I'm going back to my original role with you all that I've had since 1998. And
It sounded like you were also our webmaster. But
no. I turned that over to Leanne because I'm not that technical, but I did want to make sure that everything that I saw that I wanted to be able to have people readily find on our website was there. And so I went through every single pull down and everything, every link, and turned in a whole bunch of suggestions. As far as I can tell, they've made it. I'm going to do another 360 next week. And I think Director Purvis has offered to do another one. So we're all really excited about this new website. It's been a long time coming. We've been struggling. We call the existing website Granny because it's crotchety. So
I like my granny, but
yeah, I like my granny too.
So, Mr. Chairman, I just in beginning our thank yous, I just want to make sure we can agendize a small moment where we can all of us express our appreciation.
We're ahead of you, but I'm noted.
I appreciate that too.
Thank you, Director Graciano.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Kind words.
Chairman. Remember, Presiding, did I hear you say cake? Did I hear you say cake?
That's what I heard.
I heard that
What about a cake?
Cake, flowers, a band. Let's go.
Pie, maybe we should have pie. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
I think I'll just do, I think I'll do the next meeting virtually.
No more questions? This is our last chance to ask your questions. Okay, all right. Moving on, item 16, Metro Tech Chair Report.
Yes, my report's attached if there's any questions.
Any questions for the Metro Tech Chair? None, okay. With that, any comments or proposed agenda items from the board? Mr. Roback, go ahead.
So I was going to comment on something you said, Lisa, about Scott Cameron. He's the acting director of the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. So one of the things he had said, which you had repeated, and it's in today's paper if you want to read his comments, is we should have desalinization plants all over California coast, which isn't just the NGOs, it's the ratepayers. The cost to desalinate water, the power is astronomical, right? So the reason we're selling that water is or we hope to sell it, trade it really, is the sheer cost of it. We're trying to unload it. So I think his comments is a profound misunderstanding of what we need. What we need is more things like pure water. We need phase 2 of pure water. We need not to build, the Delta pipeline, which is estimated to be 20 billion. I've heard it as high as 50 billion, just in terms of cost. So, that's what we need to be talking about more. Is more phase 2,
Phase
pure
3
water projects. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Any other comments? Well, I want to tell Supervisor Anderson that we got through all the voting stuff early as he requested, even though he sat in his place. So.
He was very happy, and so am I.
Yeah. With that said, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I was going to get whatever the changes are. I was going to get whatever the changes are.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from what
I was
we
thinking.
Take care, guys.
He didn't say anything. Well, I'm happy.
You're going to be okay?
Leave about 2:30.
Oh, yeah, the lawyers will definitely deal with it.
She works for Doug on Pure Water.
Hey, Leanne, what's up?
So it's, he said
it's up to Sarah.
I saw his bio, he doesn't strike me as being someone not knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So you
He's loud.
didn't really have any impression about
No.
his naivety, I mean. What? Yeah, his bio struck me as being a pretty astute person, but his comment struck me as not being astute. Because he basically wrote it off to.
It definitely is, yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Especially the city of San Diego. They hold meetings, they know the rules.
Like the California Coastal Commission. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Like how I shut down yesterday's meeting, Mark? Otay Water District, they couldn't get the public comments to come in.
You know, I thought you were gonna like make a comment about
I knew
the
there was an
budget.
issue. It's the same thing I'm doing here. I know there's an issue, and I'm gonna fix it. Because they.
So your mission is public access, not necessarily the detail of what's being discussed.
Well, I mean, I can only know so much.
No,
You know
I'm not.
what I mean? Yeah,
I'm asking a question.
Yeah,
That's not
for
a
sure.
value statement.
No, for sure. I'm just
Right.
telling you, I can only know so much at a time, and I go and I learn with you.
No, I get it. So I guess you're going elsewhere too. So you're going different places.
Right.
Hey, I'm all about government transparency.
I know
so
you are. Yeah.
I'm all for that. So that's kind of your mission. I guess that's what I'm asking about.
Correct.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I just wanted to show you today how I think there's an issue here, and then show it to you so you can see where I'm coming from.
No, the Zoom should have been figured out a long freaking time
Well,
ago.
it's the signing into the getting access.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that today. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you.
Yeah.
And do you think by next time we should see some change for the public on that, or?
I hope so. I mean, I agree with your position. I think that it has to be publicly accessible. This is just not our building, so I can't.
Right, it's the city of San Diego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they can't
I
break the
think-
laws either.
Yeah, I understand. You're talking to
So-
Lisa. I showed her the government code section, so
I
I think
appreciate
they'll fix it for next week.
I appreciate that. And just so it's fair, that's what I'm gonna be checking.
Understood.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
There's no hard feelings ever. We have a law regulation thing that just needs to be done. All right, you have a good day. Thank you. Yeah. And I appreciate your help.
Yeah, no problem.
See ya. All right, you guys. So there you have it. Little by little, we inch our way towards correcting some of these issues we're highlighting. And, you know, I really appreciate them trying to fix it with the security, but there's obviously some things that need to be worked out. And if we don't see progress in this, we'll be filing for damages. Because this is the city of San Diego. I don't expect them to even fight this. So hopefully during your next public meeting, you'll be able to come here, no questions asked, and be let right in. Not even have to show ID. Guys, have a good day.